All right. Well, I might have lost it. Jeoffrey Hutcherson, I met at Train the Trainer in Orlando. He refers to himself affectionately as hot chocolate, and he is amazing. So when we went to this conference, we got to know him a little bit in Orlando in January. We got to know him a lot this time in Ventura. And when I asked him a couple weeks ago, after like our first conference together, if he would drive down and do a story at the show, and he said yes, I did that little happy dance in my whole body. So Jeoffrey's the author of A Transformative New Thoughts, a book he has here tonight, which he'll happily share with you and autograph for you if you'd like to get a copy. He's a massage therapist and energy healer, artist of life, life coach, former international online radio talk show host, and I lost the second half of the introduction, but I can just tell you that this is one of the happiest men that I've met in my entire life. He's here to share a little story with you tonight that's going to take you from the sadness of that little valley we're in to heights you will not believe. Please welcome to the stage my dear friend.
Thank you. You guys having fun tonight?
Yeah.
That'll change. Okay. So now I'm going to take you on a little journey. This is a story. This is something that happened. Okay. You ever have one of those days where you're just kind of like riding along and you're not sure if you picked your mood for the day yet? Well, the story of this guy, he was kind of like in that stage. You know, he really hadn't picked his mood, and he was kind of having trouble picking those good feelings and compared to the bad feelings. You know, so finally he went to go someplace to lift his spirits. You know, so what he decided to do was go to the store and get his favorite drink. You know, went to the store, and for some odd reason, they didn't have it. They were just let one experience just let you spiral down the rest of the day. Well, that's just kind of like what he did. He just went, okay, fine, I don't have it. He was just a little bit annoyed. And you ever notice if you have a little negative emotion, he has a lot of friends he brings with him too. He's got pissed off, he's got anger, he's got all sorts of other negative emotions that just come up at you as soon as you pick one. And so he started there with annoyed. And service at the store was not the greatest to find out there was even more in there. So he just decides to leave. As he's leaving the store, he bangs one of his elbows on the door. Hey! Now he's a little bit frustrated. Now he's hurt, didn't have the thing that he wanted. He's spiraling down. Kind of feel it just going and going. So now he's walking to his car. Parking lot full of people, but out of his vision he sees a wallet on a cart. He's the only one that sees this. How does no one else see this? There's a woman's wallet on this cart, and everyone is just walking past. Fine, I'll take care of it. You ever just take on something that's really not your problem at all, but you just have to solve it and figure it out? Has nothing to do with you, but you take it on anyway? It's kind of like where he was. He goes over, he picks up the wallet, and please, I need to preface this story. This was before smartphones became into the planet, so you still had to figure things out with logic and reasoning and just do things the best you can. He didn't have one of those smartphones that you just figure stuff out and just get it done. So he goes over, finds a wallet, he sees an ID, got a couple credit cards, no cash or nothing like that, and he's like, he just kind of like had a feeling. Well, maybe this place is around here. He didn't know. He's bad with directions. He's not Brandon McNally. Okay? So he decides to just take a quick trip home, which is like, 5-10 minutes away from where the store was. But there's a bottleneck on the freeway, which took a 10-minute trip into 35 minutes. Now, in this 35-minute trip, he gets a call of brilliance from his girlfriend. And he tells her the story up until that point. And she could kind of tell how frustrated and annoyed that he was. And she said, why didn't you just take it to the customer service to the store? You ever get a moment of where you didn't know something, but then you find out that you knew something, but you forgot you didn't know it, but then you still kicked your ass because you didn't know it at the time when you needed to know it? And he kind of did that too. So he's driving along, and please understand, not a happy person at this point. He's thinking, when I find her, she had better shower me with so much appreciation and gratitude. It just better be on for me sacrificing my time, interrupting my life, trying to get things. I'm just trying to be a good person. But damn, no one else saw this. Now I have to take care of this. You know, he gets home, and then he notices something in his car where his drink holder, which just reminded him that he didn't have the drink that he wanted. Something was a little bit wrong with it. And he's putzing around with it, and he's putzing around with it. The whole thing breaks. Okay. You see how things are just stacking and they're stacking. And what else can go wrong next? He trips and falls out of the car. Swoopers! Okay, it happened that fast. You catch yourself in those moments of, God, this sucks. This is just totally bad. So he gets inside the house, trying to bring himself back to that calm place, trying to find that center. It wasn't happening. It wasn't happening right away. This just was not there. So he gets there, he prints out the directions. Lo and behold, it was a couple blocks away from the store. He didn't know that because he's not Brandon County. So he gets back into the car, drives back into the neighborhood. Guess what's on the freeway? Another bottleneck on the other side. Really? Okay. He's just driving, and look, MapQuest, the directions are clear. But this person being bad with directions, he still managed to get lost a few times. That's just what happened. It was getting dark. It was kind of like this. He was driving through a neighborhood that he didn't know. He just didn't know. So he's driving along, kind of, well, he thinks it might be the house. House is way the hell up. He's got to walk all of these stairs to get to this house. He's not even sure if this is the right house. The lights are kind of dim. He really can't see the address. But from this point to this point, he's thinking that this might be the place to go. So he starts going up the steps of Mount House high as hell. So he's getting up there. It was long. He's like going up there thinking, hey, Rapunzel! No response. No. Okay. Gets up to the steps, gets up to the top of the steps to the house door. He's a little apprehensive. It's kind of dim, but he can see that someone must be home because there's a little rustling going on. He hits the doorbell. He's ready. She had better shower me with somebody. She has no idea how much I've been. There had better be so much appreciation for me when I return this to her. Person that opens the door is not a she, but a he. He flips a switch in his head. He's like, okay, not what I expected. What am I going to do? Okay. Now the guy that answers the door, shorter guy, jeans, work boots, white tank top, grayish, scruffy beard, looked kind of belligerent with a mullet. So let's just call him Mullet Man for this point on the story, okay? So, young man sees Mullet Man at the door, and he says, excuse me, sir, does blah, 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 blah live here? And so the guy's like, oh yeah, she used to live here, but she moved out a couple months ago. He's like, well, I found this wallet and her ID at the store, and I just wanted to return it. He's like, okay, well, just go ahead and give it to me, buddy. I'll be sure she gets it. Do you have an ID? Mullet Man had this look just kind of washed over his face. Look, buddy, I'm her father. Yes, sir, I understand you're telling me that, but do you have an ID? Yeah, hold on. Now, you have to understand, too, when the young man saw this man that opened the door, he saw the condition of his house and how he was actually living. Let's just say this place was hot. It was uniquely decorated. Uniquely decorated is what this place was. And so he closes the door, banging around, looking for his ID. A couple colorful metaphors this guy heard, the young man heard coming from that direction. Banging around, then he comes back to the door. Here. Young man takes the guy's ID, compares it to hers, satisfied with his curiosity. He gives the man back his ID. He then takes the wallet and he says, my appreciation, An appreciation to your daughter, sir. Here you are. Now, as this young man is handing this wallet over to Mullet Man, I'm not going to say he was crying, but his eyeballs were very sweaty. Because in that moment, Mullet Man went, holy shit! And then, wait a minute, the young man took a step back. He didn't quite know what to take of that. But then Mullet Man went, my daughter's really going to appreciate what you did, sir. Thank you. My pleasure. Young man turns around and he starts to descend that long-ass staircase. But he can still feel Mullet Man hidden, staring at him as he's going down. Young man was still kind of apprehensive. He didn't know what to expect. And he thought, well, that didn't go as way as I planned. Mullet Man still looking at him. And then it hits him. Mullet Man says, I guess there really are some nice people still in the world. Bam! Right in his back. And the young man saw, and he felt in that moment what he was really looking for, what was really there. Maybe in that moment where two people were so angry at life, at what was going on, angry at the choices that they had made, couldn't understand what was going on and why they were just moving through life, struggling so much, that in a moment of real connection, your whole life could change. Maybe the young man got out of that experience that, you know what? Life is how I felt. Karma, they say karma comes at some time later. No, karma came instantly. He saw that every moment in his action, how he was feeling was how he was getting back, exact in that moment. The more angrier he got, the more anger came toward him. When he decided to be peaceful, when he decided to be himself, that's when he found more joy, that's when he found more peace and connection, and he loved who he was. Maybe Mullet Man got a piece of where he thought that the world wasn't as rough as he was feeling too. Maybe he saw that somebody can protect my daughter, and this world is not as bad as I thought. Maybe that young man really felt a nice connection with himself and his life. I don't really know what all of the things that young man got out of that story, but I can tell you the main thing I got was this story. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen.